Very good. So nice to see everybody, or I really can't see you to be honest, but you can see me. So there's that. My name is Mike, president of Spektrix. Pronouns are he, him. Really pleased to welcome you today to the New at Spektrix webinar, or second New at Spektrix webinar. Been with Spektrix 7.5 years. I'm part of the senior management team here. And day to day, I'm often talking about our new features, what's coming up, either with prospective clients or a lot of times with our existing clients. So I was really pleased to be able to host this today. If you joined us last time, I feel like that was maybe 5-6 months ago, you would have heard about a host of new features that we were releasing. And pretty much all of them or many of them have now been released. There's one that I'm really particularly excited about that I'll highlight today, which is the ability to automate abandoned cart emails. So a patron comes, throws some tickets in the basket, but they don't check out, and having that ability to automatically, using digital email marketing, send them those follow-ups and ask them to finish their transaction, perhaps with an incentive, is one thing that we're really excited about. That's going to be out in the next couple of months. So we did mention that last webinar, and it's coming. But what's really exciting, I think, is that just these 6 months or so later, otherwise, there's a whole host of new features we're going to be highlighting today. And I think it really speaks to the pace of development and innovation that Spektrix is now able to undertake with a lot of feedback from our clients. And what we're really excited about is to now see this kind of getting out in the world. So as we release this stuff, how are you all embracing it and implementing and adapting it? Because there's going to be so many uses that we can't even imagine, I think, yet. And we're really excited for you to bring them to life. So looking forward to that. If you did attend a Spektrix Hubs event this year, so these are our in-person conferences that we host in different cities. They're free to attend. But you would have heard me at the end of those pretty much entirely speak to some of these new features. So, okay, some of this won't be new to you folks who did attend those, although there is stuff still that will be new. And we're going to take a deeper dive today. We're actually going to demo a lot of it. So I think it will be exciting for everybody. So we have lots of features that we aim to introduce into the system, into the solution over the next few years. I thought it'd be good to start with just how do we prioritize that? So ultimately, we're just looking at, what is that next thing that we can introduce that is going to have the widest impact and widest benefit for all of our clients across the board, all of you. We ask ourselves these 4 main questions. So number 1, will it help expand your audiences? Number 2, will it help you deepen, it says deeper, but hey, build deeper connections with those audiences? Will it increase your revenue? And will it save your team time? And this ultimately lends itself back to our mission, why Spektrix exists, which is to do exactly this for live events, nonprofit organizations. Okay, so today we're going to start with a look at some new capabilities as it relates to your customers' online journeys, or actually in person as well. We'll then talk about some enhancements we're making to philanthropy and donation. We'll talk a bit about the online community, which obviously we've just mentioned. We hope lots of you are already a part of. And we'll also talk about some new capabilities with our training offering, our training services. We'll look at some new features as relating to audience communications. And then we will do a wrap up with a few other still high impact things, but that are much quicker to highlight and talk to. And then we'll open up for Q&A, at least 10 to 15 minutes of questions and answers, which we have the full team here to help support. Okay, so let's start off with one that we're really excited about and we think is going to be, exciting for almost all of you actually, which is that we are going to be releasing early in 2026. So just in the first few months of 2026, our new online seating plans, online seat maps. I'm going to show you what this looks like, but basically it's completely modernized and completely enhanced. It's going to work with all the seating plans we've already built for you. So there's not going to be changes you need to make or anything you need to do on the website. But it is going to bring them to life a lot more and really give that seamless and optimized experience for your patrons, both on laptops and desktops, but of course, crucially on mobile devices. So let's pop that up. So this is a prototype of what it will ultimately look like. And obviously we are building this out and we're very far along, but we don't have everything in the actual product yet. Otherwise we would have released it. So we're using this prototype for the demo today. And what you can notice first off at the top is a lot of new options to be able to filter right on this seat map, right on the seating plan screen. So that could be by ticket type, but I'll actually go through a journey. So let's say we want to purchase 4 seats together, and perhaps we want to do that in these 2 price bands. So I'm able to filter this out. The map is being responsive, of course, to that. And I'm going to go here, and you can see as we hover that there's certain information we're being presented with. So we're seeing a seat location, we're seeing a price, crucially. We are seeing this view from seat image. I will say that's going to be later in 2026. So while that's going to be very exciting, and it will be clickable and expandable, that's going to be a little bit later in the year. So to start out, you would see here the price and the location, and then we could start to select our seats. And you can see that the cart's populating down here on the bottom right, which is going to be really nice. So a few things to note. One is any discounts, offers, any flex pass vouchers or ticket subscription vouchers, anything that should be auto redeeming, just as happens today, will be happening live here at this step. And what that ultimately means, therefore, is that the patrons will see their total price they will actually be paying at the end. So we know there's a lot of legislation that's changed, and just in general, it's good practice and something we've always supported to make sure the patron understands what they're entitled to. So now if I zoom out, you can see this helpful circle. Maybe I want to see how close I am to the stage here, and it's keeping my location. Maybe I want to add some other tickets. We can always just zoom back to those original seats quite easily. All right. So again, this will be totally mobile friendly. People would, you'll be zooming around or dragging around with one finger. You can pinch and zoom. You can zoom with a scroll wheel or a touchpad from a desktop or laptop computer. So it's going to be very responsive. Up here on the top right, you'll see this accessibility help. So this is simply giving us some keyboard shortcuts. These seating plans will be entirely keyboard navigable. So we can also, patrons will be able to navigate using just a keyboard. And crucially, they're also going to be completely screen reader accessible. We partnered with a consultancy who specializes in accessibility for exactly this sort of thing. And they've really helped us optimize the accessibility of these new seating plans for things like screen readers and such. So really raising the bar there. Last thing I'll show you is something that as well is going to come later in the year. So again, I mentioned the view from seat will come later in the year. And down here on this other tab, you can see this Book with Apple Pay button. So later in 2026, we'll introduce this ability to do one-click checkout using Apple Pay or Google Pay. And that's because that stores the patron's information. We know their email address, their name, et cetera. So it's easy to just send them on their journey. I will say that's also going to be available at different places where you may be doing checkout. So for example, it could be a donation page and you want to do a one-click donation checkout. Maybe it's a merchandise store that if you're using Spektrix merch and you have an online store, you may do one-click checkout for your merchandise. So things like that. We're really looking forward to introducing that. You will need to be on Spektrix payments to utilize that. It's just, that's our solution. That's what we are able to innovate on. If you haven't yet made the switch to Spektrix payments, obviously we encourage you to. I will say, I think we're upwards of about 60% now of all Spektrix clients are on Spektrix payments. So recommend the switch. I do. Very good. Okay, back to the deck. So that, as I said, early 2026 will be coming out. We're now going to move on to the next part of our customer journey. So we're going to talk a bit about some enhancements to digital passes and scanning. So you'll know that several months ago, we released native digital passes within Spektrix. And, primarily, these are just some examples of that from some of you. Thank you. Primarily to date, that's meant digital tickets. It was the most obvious use case, and it is what the functionality supports so far. But we were purposeful in naming these digital passes to be more elaborative or be more flexible. And that's because the functionality we're now releasing in the next month or so is going to allow any scan of a pass to reference the customer ID within Spektrix. So we'll know who the patron is, and therefore be able to validate or work off of any of the customer groups within which that patron sits. So for many of you, we think this will take on the form of a digital membership pass. It's probably the most obvious use case for something like that. So this could be a pass that automatically is powering discounts or other benefits, discounts maybe at the bar or for merchandise. Could be granting access to certain spaces like a VIP lounge or a members lounge, things like that. But we really want to make sure we're not limiting ourselves to just digital membership passes, which is a great use case and everyone should do if you're using memberships. But maybe these are also for some digital subscriber passes, doing a lot of the same things as a digital membership pass. Or maybe it's a digital student pass. So if you're selling education through Spektrix, you're able to, you could be able to have a student pass that students would have on their Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, and then they can scan that once they're attending class, both to validate that they should be let in, but also to timestamp when they've arrived. So you're no longer needing to do manual check-in in that sense. Maybe for some of you that have parking lots and parking, this could be a digital parking pass. So again, that could be the membership benefit. So maybe someone's just showing their membership. But otherwise, it could be that patrons who are just purchasing parking or have an entitlement to that on a consistent basis have a parking pass with you. So just giving some ideas. And again, this is, as I referenced at the top, something we're really looking forward to seeing what you all do with it, because I think you're going to imagine things that we can't, being on the software side of this, shall we say. So it's going to be very powerful. Now, because of this more effusive scanning or prolific scanning that we think can be now done throughout the organization, we wanted to lower the cost of scanning. And obviously scanners are expensive, and it sounds great to have people letting folks into a members lounge or a parking lot or whatever, but that costs money. And so you will have seen just a week or so ago, we released now the ability to scan any ticket or any pass, be it digital or physical, by way of just a smartphone camera. So any phone that has a camera can now scan a ticket or a pass, no other equipment needed. And this is a quick video that kind of shows that experience. So I'm on my phone, I'm logged into the scanning interface of Spektrix, and I'm just passing QR codes right under the sort of viewfinder there, or the camera. I don't have to push a button. I don't have to do anything fancy. I hope many of you are already using this in practice. But it really is going to make things both less expensive, as I just said. We also think it's going to help a lot with those volunteers or ushers who may be less tech savvy and just not quite getting the laser scanning. So doing something like this with a cheap, used smartphone you could buy really anywhere, or ones that you already have, really should help with that and make for a good time. Make for a good time. That's an interesting way to say it. Hey, why not? We like to scan. So I'm going to show you what this new interface is actually going to allow. So here's my phone. Yes, I'm mocking this up on a laptop, but here's my phone. Obviously, I now have the camera button at the bottom to enable that. And we're going to start in the settings interface. First, I'm going to log back in. Now you know this is a real demo. 1 second, please. Okay. So we're going to start in the scanning interface. And, at the top, we'll see the instances that we can enable for today. But what's new here is this section on what to do when we're presented with a valid customer ID, or in other words, a digital pass, like a membership pass, et cetera. We can do nothing. Awesome. Very exciting. No, we could do nothing. And I think for many of you, actually, that's probably what will be done, because if you're scanning just tickets at the front, there is no validation that you're necessarily going to want. You still will get those flags as you do today, those customer groups saying this is a member, this is a VIP, and so on. But more interestingly, now we can verify customer groups. And then it's going to ask us what customer groups do we want to validate, based on what we've surfaced up. So let's say I'm at the entrance to our VIP lounge. Well, I want to know, that our members of any tier and our subscribers can come in, but of course, our youth club, we don't necessarily let in to the VIP lounge. So we'll check that off. Now we'll go to actually put in, as though someone's walking up, we're going to scan them. I'm going to enter this barcode manually. And this is first what it would look like if the person shouldn't be let in. So here's a warning. It's a clear yellow screen. Customer exists, not part of this customer group that we're allowing. So unfortunately, Claudia is not going to be allowed in today. Although great upsell opportunity. Claudia, it looks like you want to come in, so go buy a membership. But then here's an example of somebody who would be allowed in. So customer validated success, it's a green screen, and we see that Brent is a gold member and allowed access. Very cool. So now we'll go back to the settings interface. You may have noticed there was one other option to sell an eligible customer a $0 ticket. So again, let's say for our members, maybe we have a space like a gallery, an exhibition space in our venue. And one of the members' benefits is getting 2 free tickets to that space any day or any time. So if we select what instance or we want to be allowing in this case, we go back. And again, if we put that person who's allowed in, obviously if a person isn't allowed in, they won't be able to get those free tickets. But if we scan this person's pass, it's Brent again. We see they're a gold member, and we have the ability to sell them tickets, which is right because these would be purchasable otherwise. But then we select the 2 tickets, it matches the benefit, we hit confirm. It's going to take a second because it's actually happening. And it's going to tell us success. 2 tickets have been sold and marked as scanned. And that's not just in this interface, that's happened on the back end. And it's time-stamped, of course. So now if we actually look at the back end, which we already know I'm probably going to have to log back into, let's see. Oh, no, we're good. So I just refreshed, and here you see Brent right at that 18-minute mark, which means I'm a little behind on my riff here. No, we're right on schedule. And if we go to that order, we can see that they've scanned in for the beachfront gallery. They've gotten their $0 tickets for unreserved. And down here, we can see that that's because we had an offer that members go free to the gallery. So they've saved 40 pounds in this case. I'm using a UK system, but obviously would be dollars. And that's how that works. Very exciting. So again, back to the deck, all of this is imminent. You can already scan tickets using mobile phones now. Recommend you do so if it feels right for you. And then by the end of this year, we'll call it winter, we're going to validate passes. We're going to have those digital passes, membership cards, subscriber cards, et cetera, and be able to validate that through scanners. And then very early next year, 2026, we'll be able to do that 0 value ticket thing. So, marking a ticket down to 0 as part of a benefit and letting folks access. And with that, that concludes our customer journeys part of this webinar. I'm going to hand it next to Sarah, who's going to take us through some of our philanthropic enhancements.
Thanks.
Over to you, Sarah. Very welcome.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be with y'all today. My name is Sarah Stevens, and I am a lead client success consultant here at Spektrix and also a member of our global fundraising team. And I'm based out of Austin, Texas. And today I am going to be talking about a feature enhancement that will impact our membership functionality called variable recurring giving. So if you are using memberships to fuel something like your annual philanthropic memberships that might have a goods and services amount associated with it or not, or recurring donations for your automatic monthly, quarterly, or annual giving, then this goes out to you. And this goes for if you're doing this natively through Spektrix already, or if you are doing this via one of our partner products. Or if this is something that you've really wanted to do in the past, but you've been blocked for a number of reasons, then I believe you'll be excited to hear what's next. So you will soon be able to define a range for your donors within your memberships. So your organization will be able to set a clear minimum and maximum price range, which will empower donors to choose the exact donation amount they wish to give within that defined range. And this opens the door for recurring giving to be custom amounts. So You only need one membership built per membership period, and then your donors can decide what amount they're willing and able to give on that recurring basis. And then they can opt into their card on file being charged when that membership period expires, ensuring sustainable income is secured without any extra administrative lift from your team. And like current membership setups, you can also make that auto renewable option optional if renewals are really part of your cultivation strategy. So this is a single flexible solution to streamline all of your variable recurring gifts using the core Spektrix functionality you already rely on. And it will be supported across both the sales and opportunities interfaces for your teams to sell internally on the phone or in person with patrons. Also via Spektrix subsites membership pages, which are pre-built purchase pathways provided by Spektrix to ensure consistent and smooth experience for your staff and patrons alike. And subsites will be the easiest tool to get this up and running. And some of you already use a subsite for your entire online purchase path, but did you know that you can actually quickly set up a dedicated subsite just for your recurring giving in addition to your main website? And there's no additional cost for this. Or a web developer can leverage the API to create a custom integration on your website for your donors. And finally, if you're utilizing Spektrix payments, no more expired cards. You'll benefit from automatic card updates for those recurring donations, ensuring retention and reducing your admin time. So let's actually see what this would look like on a subsite from a customer's perspective. And again, if you're using subsites, you're 90% of the way there. So this is just a mock-up. Please keep this in mind. And I can't stress that enough, but I'm excited to show you what's coming. So we have our membership page here, and I can see my bronze, silver, and gold memberships with our little toggle here of the minimum and maximum payment. So I can just drag this slider over and set the price that I want to give. Or on the back end side, I can actually go in and switch this to say, oh, I want this to be a multi-membership slider. So that becomes one slider, and as I increase and go into the next level, it'll automatically populate that membership into the basket. I also have the Support Us page, which is going to be for our recurring donations. And so in this case, you can either do the toggle or sorry, the slider, or you can also enter in custom amounts on either of those pages. So I could say, well, I want to do, a $20 a month membership. It's automatically renewed. Add this to cart and move forward. You may also notice here I can hide the minimum and maximum price for my memberships, and I can also very easily sort this by alphabetically or by price ascending or descending as well. All right, let's go back to the slides. So, some things to consider as you begin thinking about how this feature can work for you. Think about if you're about to make any changes to your existing membership processes and consider how this can help elevate what you're already doing. Keep in mind how this is going to work for you online. If you have subsites, great. If not, it's totally fine. Reach out to us and we can walk you through the options with subsites or with the API. And finally, consider how you want to begin talking to your donors about the changes being made and how it could potentially fit into your upgrade strategies. Now, I am biased, but I know this is a really exciting development. And the good news is that it's coming so soon. We're actively working on this now, and we expect variable recurring giving to be available this winter. So now I am going to pass it over to Brittany for some updates on the community and training.
Brittany, you are mute. We can't hear you.
Hi, thank you, Sarah. My name's Brittany. I'm the Senior Community Manager here at Spektrix, and I'm really excited to share that the Spektrix community is live. Mike already said it, but I'm gonna act like he didn't. Um, so What is the Spectrix online community? This is a space that's designed for you, our users, to connect, to collaborate, and to share ideas directly with one another. Whether you're troubleshooting something small or you want to dive into a big topic like segmentation strategy, the community is here for you to do that. But what specifically do I mean by that? So, what can you do in the community? Let's check it out. In the community, you can ask questions or swap tips and tricks in the forum. And here we have the forum boards. They're organized by main topic, like fundraising and donations or websites, just to name a few. And once you click into these boards or scroll down into the forum, you'll see that we have some really great questions, along with some really awesome answers and some helpful tips from our users. As an example, we have here a really great question from the community. A member asks, how do you use automated emails to boost donations? And there were a few really great answers, but we have one here that says at their organization, they've added thank you videos to their emails to spice them up, and that seems to be working for them. And this is just one of many examples of how Spektrix users are helping each other out in the community. You can also attend events in the community. We have some really awesome ones coming up. We have a Meet a Fellow Spektrix User event, which is sort of like a speed networking event, maybe a little less intense, maybe more fun. I hope so. And then we also have some activation workshops where you can get some hands-on learning from Spektrix staff and make some live changes to how your organization might be using Spektrix currently. On the resources page, you can find various different kinds of content that you can read and learn from. You can also comment and interact with these resources as well. If you have any follow-up questions or comments, you can drop them right into the piece of content themselves, and we'll be able to answer you, or your peers will be able to answer you. We also have the ability to connect with peers. So you can see other Spektrix users who might be at a similar organization or similar role as you, and you can reach out and connect to ask questions or maybe get a better idea on how they're tackling certain challenges at their organization. As Mike said, after this session, we'd love for you to join us in the community to continue the conversation. There will be a specific forum post titled New at Spektrix Webinar, Questions and Comments, and you can pop into that, put any questions, comments that you have, and we'll be there to answer. At the end of the presentation, we'll pull back up the QR code to join the community again, if you haven't already. So please come and join us and be a part of shaping how that space grows. Alongside the community, we're also investing in better training and education. So I'd love to share a little bit about what's available now and what's also coming very soon. Available now, we have our first e-learning that has gone live on the Support Center. And these are interactive self-cert sessions that are available to everyone. Our first two courses cover sending emails in Spektrix, but keep an eye out as we'll be adding some more topics over time. Coming soon, instructor-led training will be widely available next year. These are online sessions that are just designed to develop a new user's confidence in the system. I've attended all of these trainings and they have been extremely useful, so I highly recommend. We're also going to be creating a new home for training on our website where you'll be able to access our full training offer. And also don't forget our support center is regularly updated and our teams are always available to help with any deeper questions there. So between the new community and improved training, we're building more ways for you to connect with each other and with us to make sure that you're getting the most out of Spektrix. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you in the community right after this. Now I'm going to hand it over to Nikasi.
Thanks so much, Brittany. Let me get my slides up. Great. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. I am Nikasi Freeman. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a relationship manager here at the lovely Spektrix. It's likely that we've spoken before, either now in my current role or way back in the day when I was a sports specialist. Now, when I was a sports specialist, if I could have picked any specialty, it would have been insights and mailings, or rather customer communications. So I am very excited today to discuss what's new and improved to help you better communicate with your audiences. Now, let's start off with something exciting. We've now created a feature in your system to optimize your email send time. Our new email send time optimization feature uses Digital's AI to analyze the historical engagement of each customer to send an email when a customer is most likely to engage with an email. With one click, and I know that we love a good, effortless one-click option, you can schedule your email to send to your customers at the time that they're most likely to open or click a link within their email. So if I were a customer who always opens your newsletter email at 6:15 p.m. when I'm on the bus home from work, that's the exact time I'll receive your email. I won't have to comb through all of my unread emails to find your newsletter. It'll be right there at the top of my inbox, ready for me to read. But what happens for those customers who don't have historical data, those folks that we just don't know when they typically open their emails or click a link? Don't you worry, you won't miss anybody. The email will be sent either immediately or at the time that you've scheduled the email to send. When this feature is ready, you'll communicate more effectively and see a higher return on investment for your campaigns, all by changing one box in your integrated mailing setup. Have you ever needed to send a quick email to all customers attending a specific event instance to let customers know of inclement weather, maybe remind them where to park, or the very unfortunate canceling of an event? We have all been there. So using our new customer service emails, you can send a quick informational email to all customers attending an event instance, regardless of subscriber status. So even those customers that have unsubscribed from your email will be sure to get that need to know information. On the screen, you're seeing here what it would look like after starting an event instance. So anyone at your organization can send out this email last minute. If you share that Digital email campaign ID, they don't need to actually have access to Digital, and they don't have to understand how to build a customer list segment in Spektrix. They can start the event instance and send the email from there. Now, you're great at Digital, but how can you build a campaign that covers every eventuality? Well, that's where this handy dandy additional info tab comes in. The staff member sending the email can add their own wording in the free text section that's specific to that scenario. And then it will pull through in the email the customer receives. And if a customer attending that instance doesn't have a valid email, the customer service email feature will highlight customers without valid email addresses, so you can try an alternative method to contact them. The bottom line is you'll have an easy, breezy, beautiful way to override customers' selected contact preferences in order to provide essential information. And that's coming to you by the end of 2025. Now, let's keep in mind, these customer service emails will be strictly informational. You won't have the opportunity to cross-promote or upsell, but you will with our new and improved pre- and post-event emails. With our pre-event emails, you can now include a lot more juicy information like event duration, description, venue names, and seating plan. This means you can use one universal template for all of your pre-event emails, automatically including all of the relevant info for each unique event. In addition, event and instance attributes can be used to share any custom information such as content guidance, accessibility information, confirmation text, and other key details. But wait, there's more. We're also introducing the ability to link directly to the supplementary event page for the selected events, making it easy for customers to purchase relevant upsells. The first product recommendation tool will be added, enabling future events to be displayed automatically within pre- and post-event emails. So, if I am attending a secret Beyoncé concert held at your organization for her next album, Act 3, in your pre-event email to me, you can upsell her new album that's in your merch shop or advertise for the next pop star pop-up at your organization. And you can be very, very sure that I'll be purchasing at least one of what is advertised to me. Alongside this, we're also working on adding ticket QR codes directly into your pre-event emails. Now, here is a little bit of a taster of what that would look like in a pre-event email. This means no more searching through emails for the original transactions. Your customer will have a better experience. We expect to launch this particular feature for ticket details in early 2026, but the ability to add more information into your pre-event email should be coming by the end of this year. While those improvements are coming soon, let's talk about what's available to you now. Using ads, automation, and digital programs, you can automatically take contacts from your Spektrix system and upload or remove them from your TikTok's ad manager, your Meta Ads manager, or your Google Ads accounts. By setting up a connection between your .digital, Spektrix, and ad platforms, once you create a program which includes an ad node, data is synced across all 3 platforms daily. Now, for another amazing audience communication improvement, you're getting the ability to send e-tickets right before events. Currently, the system automatically sends e-tickets with transaction confirmation emails. With this update, you'll be able to send e-tickets in a dedicated email at the time of your choosing. Choosing the time to send e-tickets will be achieved through sending a customer service email, the previous feature we discussed. On the image displayed on screen, you'll see that in the basic details of this event instance, I've made sure to leave the Send Print at Home email option unchecked. Then, I scheduled my customer service email 5 hours ahead of this instance for Hairspray the Musical. This ensures that customers receive their e-tickets for the March 1st, 7 p.m. instance of Hairspray at 2 p.m. the same day. With this feature, you can make it more difficult for those pesky resellers to resell tickets on the secondary market because they can't distribute tickets that they won't have access to until right before the event. So here's a summary of some of the wonderful improvements we've talked about today. These things will make your communications more effective and also save you time. Your emails are optimized, your personalization is automated, your customers are well informed, and your pre-event routines run smoother. I think that's enough for me. So what I'm going to do is hand it over to our wonderful Mike.
Thank you so much, Nikasi, just now. And of course, Sarah and Brittany. We love the emojis we're getting. Mash those emoji buttons. We'll take it. We'll take it all. We live for the emojis. All right, into the final section, our roundup, and then we'll open up for some questions. So as mentioned earlier, there's a few other high impact things we're going to rattle off real quick, and we want you to be aware of. Then we'll open up for some Q&A. And then after all that, we will jump into the online community. So first up in the roundup is a blank screen. Nope, there we are. Final roundup is our security and compliance information. Not the most exciting topic as part of this webinar, but something you should know about. So if you go to trust.spektrix.com, you can now access this portal where we are housing all of our security certifications, documentation, and so forth. And anyone can request access who needs it up here on the top right, and we'll be sure to approve that. We are adding or have added the ability now to add your own data in bulk, otherwise known as do an import. So if you want access to this, it is available now for you. You would just want to request it from the support team. So you could call in or submit a ticket. Basically, this tool is going to allow you to import data to your system in bulk. And what's currently available is to bulk upload things like memberships or patrons, information or donations. And we're going to continue to look at other areas that we can add to put in your hands these bulk imports. Very cool. We've talked a lot about digital passes. We're going to talk some more about them. So some enhancements to what you can do with digital passes. Number one, we've now got the ability to add free text anywhere on those passes that you'd like. So maybe at the top of all of your passes, you want to put a heartfelt thank you for, to your patrons for being supporters, something like that, that feels that human connection. You can include URLs, live links on the back of the digital passes. So these could link off, for example, to more information about an event or the artists that are taking part in an event. And maybe a nice combination here is on the front, you have free text saying, hey, we've got, great info on the back. Make sure to flip the pass. Then they do that, and there are your URLs. And the third thing is you can create conditional logic within the ticket. So in other words, things like if, and, or statements, else statements. So one example, because that one's a little more gnarly, shall we say, maybe that for your event, some of you may have multi-area or mixed reserved and unreserved events. So you have a portion that's picking a seat, and another area that's just unreserved. So if there's a seat, it would, in this digital ticket, populate the actual seat number as it should. But if there isn't, because it's the unreserved portion, maybe it's letting patrons know this is going to be a standing area, as an example. So you can mix and match any of this conditional logic with free text, with URLs on the back as you wish. Very good. Two more. So this one may not apply to everyone, but we think for those it does apply to is going to be really helpful. Today, if you manage multiple venues within your Spektrix, so multiple spaces or multiple actual separate buildings, when you're searching for those events, you're having to re-enter or refilter to just the venues that you want each time today. What will soon be happening in the next month or so is you'll have the ability in your user settings interface to specify what are the default venues that should always populate for you. And this will be to the specific user. So it's not going to impact other people at the organization. And that way save you lots of time of having to keep, refiltering at the search screen. And lastly, segmenting all household members, or more importantly, perhaps outputting all of them. So coming as well in the next month or so, you're going to be able to, when you're creating those segments, say, when data is grouped by a household, we want to include in the list that we're then doing something with, that's being output, or we're sending an email to, or whatever. Do we want to include only the primary householder, or do we want to include all household members? So we think this is going to really be helpful, something many of you have asked us for, over time. It's going to remove the need to manually soft credit transactions in order to tag or email or segment. So that's going to be the biggest thing. So for example, on cumulative purchases and gifts. So I've got here a list of just some use cases. So create more accurate, nuanced segmentations of your audiences and donors. Easily tag all members of a household based on cumulative giving. So if your memberships work off of cumulative donations and maybe are a household membership or a family membership, you could now do it in that way. It'll streamline the benefit sharing of a house, of a membership that might be for a family, for example. Gives you the ability to email all members of a household based on that combined purchase data. And then lastly, output the names of all the household members. As I said earlier, for example, maybe on your playbill, you want everybody listed, or on your online donor listing. So with all that, we've got 19-ish minutes, and we're now going to head into the Q&A portion. So get your questions in. You've got that opportunity there on the bottom right, I believe, in the Q&A button. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'll be joined by all the people you've heard from today, Sarah and Brittany and Casey. We've also got Rich Bates here, who's our Director of Product. So we're going to let those trickle in, and then we're going to popcorn it around and start getting to answering. Okay, so first question we've got, for the recurring memberships, will we have to be on Spektrix payments in order to take recurring payments, or will it work with other payment providers as well? And I think, Sarah, this might be a good one for you to answer if you're up for it.
Yeah, sure. So you can currently take recurring donations on any payment service provider so long as you have continuous authority turned on. So if you're unsure about that, reach out to us to make sure. The benefit of using Spektrix payments for that recurring giving is going to be that automatic card update, which the other payment service providers are unable to do. So yeah, you're all good there.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Next question, does a customer need to have a saved payment method in order to upsell through the scanning interface? So this is to do with that screen I showed where we're providing tickets to members, for example. So the answer is no, they don't need a saved payment method, but that's because right now we are only allowing $0 transactions. So in other words, those transactions are getting zeroed out because that patron's membership benefit allows for those free tickets. So you don't need a stored payment. In the future, we are looking or aiming to add the ability to actually transact through that, but it's not on the current roadmap. No, that'd be in the future. So it is something we're looking at. For now, though, no saved payments needed because it is $0 only. Thank you for that great question. Next one, I noticed that there are different letters noted on some of the seats. Very astute, whoever this is. Oh, I see who it is, but I won't shout you out. Well done. Is this a new feature that we can change the information overlay icon? Rich, that might be a good one for you.
Sure, yeah. So actually that's a existing feature, those kind of letters you're seeing. So like on the seat map mock-up Mike showed, we had W's and M's, and that was to signify like a wheelchair seat or a seat that was locked for my members. That's actually an existing feature that is already on the current seating plans online, and that's around making certain locks eligible for customers to book online. So you can do that today, and it will carry over to the new seating plans as well. The info overlays, which are typically used for sort of just marking something special about the seat, like it's got a restricted view or it's got limited leg room, that will carry over to the new seating plan online as well, but that will still be signified by a little eye logo. But also we're making that much clearer on a mobile in particular, because at the moment that's not super clear to a customer booking on a mobile when they see an eye, for them to kind of understand what that little eye means. So I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Rich. And actually, good point. I didn't explain this when I was demoing, but when you are clicking on or tapping from a mobile phone, more interestingly, a seat that has an information overlay, that pop-up. So if you're hovering on a laptop or if you're tapping it on a phone, the pop-up that you see with the view from seat and some of that will also have the information right there. So it would say limited legroom or restricted view, etc. Thank you, Rich. Okay, next one is for the recurring donations feature as shown in the example of the Support Us page. Is that set up as a membership but not named as such? Or is it a feature that can be turned on for our donations page? Our venue doesn't want to do memberships, but does want to set up the option for recurring donations. Sarah, that feels like a good one for you.
Yeah, sure. So yes, that Support Us page on the subsite demo is fueled by the membership functionality, but you can name that whatever you want to name it. So the donor is not going to know that that's a membership, even though it is natively in Spektrix. And then the donations, single time donation would be its own page on the subsite. Leveraging like the API and building web components, you can make that difference like a little bit more unrecognizable. But yeah, lots of options to play with there. I hope that helps.
Great. Thank you. And I will say we've gone sub-site heavy today. I know, lots of you are using Spektrix sub-sites or out of the box booking path. Many of you aren't. You're doing a custom website. All options are great. And just to say, all of this is available in either. So this is not dependent on, having a Spektrix sub-site or anything. Okay. Just to confirm, does this now mean that the confirmation email and your e-tickets are now combined into one?
So,
yeah. Nikesi,
thanks.
yeah, please.
Yes, that's me. Not necessarily. As of right now, how those e-tickets are currently sent, they're sent right after the order confirmation email, with the option or the ability to schedule out when your e-tickets send. You can schedule out that they send 5 hours before your performance or the day before your performance. It depends. It will be 2 separate emails essentially.
And maybe the question also relates to how you were showing the pre-show email having the embedded ticket and QR code, which is something that we will have, early next year as well. But that's still not the confirmation email, just to delineate. Good question, good answer. Thank you. Next one, I think I missed this. The camera scanning does talk with the sales interface, so box office would see a scan in real time done by a phone. That is correct. Yeah, just the same as done today. It's no different. You're logging into this, scanning interface via the browser of a phone, and it will work exactly the same. So it'll all be time-stamped and beautiful. Next one, will the digital barcodes be live barcodes that refresh, or will they be static? Thinking about fraud and having the ability to screenshot the QR code. Rich, that might be one for you.
Yeah. So the digital barcodes for both tickets and customers are not don't refresh. They are still a static barcode. But as Nikesi showed later in the webinar, I think after we got this question, the feature around delaying that e-ticket send to be like 5 hours before, 3 hours before the event should hopefully be a really good thing in your tool box to stop fraudsters.
Great. Don't mute yet, Rich. I think this next one's for you as well. Is there a way to choose how we want our scanners to scan? Can they be switched back to the previous system? So in parentheses, where the volunteer uses the scanner by pulling a trigger on a scanning device. So I think it's asking, does it have to just be a phone or can it also be a scanning device?
Yeah, so the answer on that is you can do whatever you want. The old scanners with the kind of laser hardware will continue to work. You'll have noticed that there's now that camera button on the bottom of the page, as Mike showed you. That's there for everyone, but your staff can just not press that camera button if they've got the hardware and they just kind of press the trigger like they did previously. It'll continue to work just as before. So it's just kind of two ways of getting to the same result.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Next question, is there any progress on the bulk refunds tool for an event or instance cancellation? Thank you. Well, thank you. Great progress. It's been released. That was probably a month or so ago, but yes, you have the ability to bulk refund with one click for any event instance that would unfortunately need to be canceled. Some info on the support center. If you're curious, you could probably search bulk refund. Otherwise, of course, always feel free to reach out to the support team and just give us a call. Is the e-ticket send setup configurable if updating or using the creating multiple instances tool? So I think this is asking the ability to send those e-tickets. Is it able to be updated using the multiple instances? Rich, that's probably one for you as well.
Yeah, so this is about when you build an event and you build like 30 instances at once. Absolutely, yeah, you can set a schedule to be like, when I build these 30 instances for the same event, I want all of the scheduled, what we call customer service emails, so scheduled e-ticket emails to go 5 hours before or 3 hours before or whatever you want it to be. And those schedules will be built automatically relative to the individual performances or instances start time. So yeah, you'll get those in one click.
Beautiful. Next is, when will the schedule send printed home tickets? So the ability to schedule printed home or e-tickets feature be available. That's by the end of this year. So in the next month or so, that'll be available. Is there an ETA on when the payments API will be available for use in custom checkouts? Great question. So early next year, we'll have that ability where, basically Spektrix payments, you'll be able to embed that in your website in different areas. And some of this one-click transact stuff, which could be a donation or a ticket, et cetera. So early next year, it's a good time to remind if people, hopefully everyone's got access, but we have a website now that's called the New at Spektrix features or New at Spektrix webpage. And we have, every time we're introducing a new feature that we're working on, we're adding it there and we're putting an estimated timeline. So you could see what's coming out, what we're working on in the moment, and what we're exploring for the next 6 to 12 months. So we're both populating that, and also some of this info on like when will things be available will be there for you. Great. Will customer service emails override and thus send emails to the people who have hit unsubscribe in the past within .digital, as well as to those who have unsubscribed from all customer preferences in Spektrix? Casey, you want to take that one?
Yes, indeed. So the answer is yes, because technically those emails count as transactional emails. So you can go ahead and send away.
Beautiful. And that's why it's important, we all have to, with .digital, et cetera, to not upsell, not market. Basically, we don't want patrons flagging things as, spam or sales emails, because it's a powerful capability there. We're basically surpassing those unsubscribe rules, because this is need to know information. Does the phone camera scanning work on hard stock tickets with a linear scan code? I could only get it to work on digital and e-tickets with a QR code. Wow, that's a good one. Rich, I'm going to need you.
Okay, so I think this is a question about kind of old-fashioned barcodes rather than the kind of QR codes. So the camera phone will scan those barcodes. However, depending on the quality of the printer, it might struggle a little bit. Basically, camera phones are really good at scanning QR codes because QR codes are designed for kind of cameras. They're a much more modern kind of technology standard. An old-fashioned barcode, if it's printed really, really well, or if it's on a screen, it'll probably be all right. If you've got like an older ticket printer and it's a bit kind of imperfect in how it's printed, the camera phone might struggle, whereas an old a laser printer, laser scanner will still be able to hit it. So if you use those, if you print them, maybe you don't want to use the camera phone for your tickets, but you could still use the camera phone if you're using kind of customer passes on a Apple or Google Wallet, as Mike was showing. So you can mix and match across different spaces in your venue.
Great. Thank you, Rich. We've got 3 more and then we'll wrap up and go to community. For the delayed print at home, can the confirmation email contain info on when tickets will be emailed? Casey, that might be a good one for you.
Yeah. So the answer is yes. And if you want to amend your order confirmation email to include the time when those print at home tickets are going to be sent, you can just reach out to our support team and we'll be happy to amend that for you.
Wonderful. Can single time donations be eligible for memberships? Sarah, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I think I would need to know a little bit more about that particular use case. Long story short, no, if something's processed as a membership, it'll be a membership. If something is processed as a donation, a one-time donation, it will be that, but you could exchange it for a membership. But I'm curious about that particular scenario, so reach out to support and I'll talk to you about it.
Okay. And we have your info, so we can reach out to you. And maybe that's about like cumulative giving up to a certain level that now entitles people to membership. But yep. And then last one for today, and there's probably a lot more. So if you didn't have your question answered, we do have a log of them. We will reach out. You also, again, can come join us in the community now and we'll keep going. But last one for today, real-time emails about cancellation. Can those be SMS messages as well or just strictly email? Casey, while we have you, what do you think?
Yeah. So as of right now, those are going to be strictly email, but who knows what's going to happen in the future? Rich, don't kill me. But who knows? Maybe we'll be doing SMS messaging.
Very good. Okay. Everyone, really appreciate you being here with us. We're going to flash back up that QR code for the community. So again, if you want to keep talking, if you want to ask us other questions, you're going to be able to go to the Spektrix community. There's a forum post. You'll see it's called New at Spektrix. You can hop right into that, post your questions, any thoughts, comments. We'll all be in there watching what you write. So thanks for everything. Lovely to be here with you all and really appreciate the partnership as we roll all this stuff out and you bring it to life in the real world. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care.